Hey guys, it's your girl Dr. Shonna, and I have Professor Letitia Sampson with us. She is a powerhouse, and I'm so glad that you guys are all here to be able to join us in this conversation, because she and I have been chopping it up regarding Robert F. Smith in his $40 million pledge to Howard University. These students are graduating debt free because of him. So we're going to engage in this conversation, and we're going to have a conversation about why this actually should matter. So Letitia, thank you so much for being a part of us. I know I want to check in, but let me just let you introduce yourself before I check in with the audience to say hello to everyone.
Hi, everyone. I am Professor Letitia Sampson, and I am also the CEO of Great Joy Counseling. So definitely check us out on Facebook and Instagram.
Yes. So listen, you just said that, you just blew that over. They really want to know who you are. What does that mean? You're a clinician of Great Joy Counseling. I mean, yes. I know what that means, but
what does that mean?
You gotta let people know what you do and how you do what you do.
Well, let me say this. For the past 21 years, just first of all, saying that is mind blowing, right? For the past 21 years, serving individuals with mental illness. And right now I'm doing that in private practice in Westfield, New Jersey. But I think more importantly than that, helping people understand how their thoughts and beliefs connect to their actions and create their lives. So that is what I spend my time doing in a nutshell.
You're good. Okay, I got that. But you're also a professor, right?
Absolutely. Yep. So I teach at the Hunter College, the Silberman School of Social Work at Hunter College. I am also going to be making some transitions and teaching at some more local universities here in New Jersey very soon. I have also taught here in New Jersey. I've taught in New England. So yeah, I've been doing that for the last 10 years as well.
Listen, Letitia, let's get started.
All right, let's go.
Okay, so did you see the speech, or at least some of the speech?
I did see some of the speech. And I definitely was focused in on the speech, but I think more importantly, his pledge. Like, his pledge blew me away.
Why?
Because I think that what he did, with it being $40 million, is so much more impactful than that. These students being able to graduate with no student loan debt will have a completely different outcome for their lives and their children's lives if they're smart about it, right? This is a great jump start. So many people don't have this jump start. You know, student loans are sometimes like nooses around people's necks, literally, right? Especially for us, especially for Black folks, right? Like, so, you know, socioeconomically, oftentimes in order for us to, you know, reach certain levels in education, we have to take out hundreds of thousands of dollars often in student loans, right? And so you're left with these great degrees, but you're also saddled with so much debt and so much stress that it's almost like, was it worth it, right? So these students being able to graduate debt-free is huge. These are Black men, right? These are men, Morehouse men, being able to enter the workforce with no debt, which is amazing.
It is amazing. And, you know, I also want to give some credence to his commencement speech, because I think it all ties into exactly what you're saying. Yeah. For one, I was looking at a lot of people posts, right? And some people were saying how he has done more for the Black community than what Obama has done in 8 years, right? And so a lot of people are having this kind of discussion going on social media. And I respect everyone's opinion, right? And when I look at Robert Smith and what he did, I think that he really is living the example of a lot of things that he said in his speech. For example, he started off the speech saying that we are all part of a village and we are all part of a team. And we all have this village talk, right? A lot of us have this village talk about it takes a village. We all got to be a team. We got to be one. But I think what you're speaking to, he actually displayed that. Two things I want to say. First, when it comes to Robert F. Smith and his speech, what he said was the cycle of resistance and oppression persists. And when we think about the cycle of resistance and oppression, we think about it from the white man's acts and his terrorism and what he does to hold us back when we do flourish, right? But there is a cycle of resistance and oppression that flourish around us too.
Within us.
Community.
That's right.
Come on now. Come on now.
That's right.
So what you talked about is you broke through that resistance. The resistance that you was getting from your own sisters and brothers that should have been supporting you.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
We can be very oppressive too. We can do things when we get in our little position of power. We can do oppressive things as well to keep us down. And you broke through that. So I know that oftentimes we often focus on racism and white supremacy and what the history has been. And some of that fear keeps us from doing it, because I hear people on social media, you know, we go ahead and we're going to rebuild Black Wall Street and they're going to burn it down again. So that same pathology exists within the community.
That's right. It exists.
Right?
Absolutely. It exists, and then it persists, right? And we have to constantly challenge that thinking, because it keeps us stagnant, right? It keeps us in the same space. Economically, we are more powerful than any other group, but yet we don't use our resources by pulling them together wisely. And that is why pockets of us will flourish, right? Certain communities, right? Certain people that we're connected to. But if we don't get serious about pooling our resources, we're going to be in the same space. And my hope is that these brothers who got this amazing blessing, this amazing gift, are starting those conversations right now. My hope is that they're gathering together now, doing that.
And that was the second thing I was going to talk about. We already know that fear exists. But just because he made this $40 million pledge doesn't mean he wiped away the fear that these brothers have in their mind. It doesn't mean that he wiped away the persistent resistance and oppression that we ourselves as a people have among us as well. So when I think about these young Black men who are given the gift of being debt-free to go on and do something great, when I think about it, I have to ask myself, how much of education, when it comes to financial education, when it comes to entrepreneurship, when it comes to wealth building, did Morehouse set these men up? Because if you don't got that,
it doesn't matter. Then it doesn't matter. Then it's for naught.
I mean, I'm saying it doesn't matter, but why are you saying it doesn't matter?
I'm saying it doesn't matter because if you don't have the financial literacy skills and tools, then you won't have student loan debt, but you'll have other issues, right? Whether that's credit card debt, or, you'll be upside down on your mortgage, or you'll get a subprime auto loan, or all three, right? So it's about having financial literacy. What he did gives them access to other things because they should have more money now from their, professions, their respective professions, et cetera, that doesn't have to go to paying off that large debt. But if they're not financially savvy, all they won't have is student loan debt. They have every other type of debt in the world, right? So it's being able to be educated about money, about wealth building, about legacy building, not just wiping out debt in that one area.
Absolutely. And a lot of things, I sometimes I hear people when I have my counseling sessions, and I work with couples and adults, and oftentimes when I talk about financial building inside my couples counseling, I have a lot of men who have histories of incarceration, and they're intimidated, right? Mm-hmm. And I say, here it is, you are married to someone who doesn't have a history of incarceration. There is no need for you still not to be planning. You got to plan through her. So that's why we're doing this Black Family Blueprint, because sometimes what happens with us, we get this fear, like you said earlier, and it starts to blind us and cloud our vision, but we can no longer think beyond what we can see. And when it comes to building generational wealth, when it comes to having a generational blueprint, you have to be able to build beyond what you can see. If you're only worrying about what you can see, you're never going to do it.
And Shonna, to piggyback on that, we have to leverage one another. You said something so powerful when you mentioned the couples that you counsel at your practice. And okay, the brother may have that issue or the sister may have that issue, but you have to be able to leverage your spouse. We have to get out of this me, my, I mentality. It is about leveraging one another. Okay, I am not going to come and open up a practice in the city you're in. I don't need to. You're there. So anybody that needs a therapist there is going to go to you. You don't have to come to where I am, right, and open up a practice. Just send the people to me. We have to start to do that on a community-wide level in order to have lasting change.
It goes back to the whole topic of integration, what you're saying. And I'm sorry, I got to go back there, girl, for just for a moment, But it goes all back to the conversation we had earlier about integration. Because when we integrate, or when we integrated, we also took on somebody else's mindset, somebody else's beliefs, somebody else's behaviors, somebody else's culture.
Their values.
You know, and it is one thing to have taken it all when we were enslaved. That was against our will. But when you got your will,
That's right.
To still further it is pathological in and of itself.
That's right.
So when we think about integration, when we see our young sisters and brothers who don't even want to identify with Blackness, the whole anti-Blackness within the Black community is problematic. They don't want to identify with Blackness. They want what the white man has. And I don't say that in an offensive term.
No, it's real.
That's what's happening.
That's real. That's
it's
real.
Very real.
And you know it's real.
And so when I think about graduates from HBCUs, maybe it was me. I was so excited to know about people graduating from HBCUs, but I was heartbroken to know that they graduate and they still identify more with whiteness than Blackness. That's problematic. And I think that goes back to integration, because we're so like entrenched. We're so like how do you say, like when you're immersed, we're so immersed in everyone else's culture but our own. I don't even know we even know our own culture, but we're so immersed in everyone else's culture that we don't even think to do for self. We don't even think about the power that we have and why we are so important and why we're so precious. We don't like it because they told us that we're not important. They told us that we we're precious. They told us that we weren't worth a dime. So we figure the more we get closer to whiteness, maybe we'll be worth more. And that's even coming out of the HBCUs. That's problematic.
All righty.
Thank you so much. Go to the blackfamilyblueprint.eventbrite.com. Get signed up. Bring your teenagers. We will see you all on June 1st in Montclair, New Jersey. Have a blessed one.